Welcome to a walkthrough video on how to transfer our stake and or delegation to Arbitrum 1 using a vesting contract. Before we begin with this walkthrough, let's go through a few key points. Key point number 1. If bridging fails during the transfer, we will need to confirm the transfer on Arbitrum 1 within 7 days or our funds will be lost. If this occurs, we will see a pop-up in the dashboard, and from there we can go ahead and usher this transaction all the way through. It's best to set aside around 20 minutes for each of these key points of the transfer, and you'll see that in the walkthrough in a little bit. Key point number 2. We can continue to transfer GRT as long as we have GRT on Ethereum mainnet. Now that we've gone over those key points, let's go ahead and begin with the walkthrough. Okay, here we are starting at thegraph.com, and for the sake of this walkthrough, we'll be using testnet funds, which means we'll be at testnet.thegraph.com. This is the same process on testnet as it would be using actual funds, so just know that. Here we are logging in using MetaMask with our EOA, and here we'll check out not only the EOA, but also the 2 vesting contracts to begin this transfer process. Let's select that vesting contract, and then we're going to go to the overview. And here we can see a notification. This is a notification that will tell us, hey, this vesting contract can be initialized on Arbitrum, and this is the first step we need to do before we can start to transfer stake and or our delegation. However, before we begin initializing, let's see how much stake we have. There's 150K, and then let's see how much delegation we have. And we have 49.75K. So now we know we're going to need to transfer that index or stake as well as that delegation with our vesting contract. But before we do that, we need to actually migrate that vesting contract to Arbitrum. Welcome to the Migrate Vesting Contract to Arbitrum Girly dashboard. You can see there's a few check marks already taken care of on the left, and that's because this vesting contract that I am currently using has already gone through those steps. If you have any questions about this, you could see the link in the description where you could reach out to the developers building this tooling, and we could help you out with any questions you might have. You'll see that there's a recommended amount of ETH to deposit, and we'll just accept that. That is what's recommended to do. The video will speed up a little bit just for the sake of making this a little bit faster. Okay, green check mark. We're on to the next step. Here we can see how much GRT we would like to transfer from our Ethereum vesting contract to our Arbitrum vesting contract. Feel free to do max or however much you'd like to transfer over from one vesting contract to the newly initialized one. And this next step actually is quite important. As you can see, this is Arbitrum Girly beneficiary, and this address right here is automatically populated with the EOA that we are currently logged in on. If we would like to change this address, we are able to. Just be sure that it is 100% accurate when you input it, as well as it is an address that is an EOA or multi-sig that is on Arbitrum, and then we control it. Because when we initialize it right now, we cannot change that address. So as we transfer the funds, we need to be sure that that address is correct, or we might lose the funds in this transfer process. So yeah, it has to be an EOA or multi-sig on Arbitrum that we control. Just be sure of that and make sure you enter it correctly during this transfer process. Okay, the vesting contract initiated. So there we go. We've got a timer going on. It's best if we get a coffee, get a tea, just relax and watch this transfer all the way through, or at least just be around, because if any pop-ups come up that encourage us to help out this transfer, should the transfer fail, we want to be there, because once we initiate this process, like I said in the beginning, we have 7 days to see it all the way through. Just be around, make sure we can usher this through. And there we go. Arbitrum Girly vesting contract has been initialized successfully. Very cool. And we could begin the other processes. We could begin transferring stake. We could begin transferring delegation. We could begin all of those processes. Let's go ahead and transfer our stake. Okay, welcome to the transfer stake to Arbitrum Girly dashboard. Very similar process as before. We just go ahead and make sure that we have a Arbitrum Girly wallet that we would like It could be an EOA or a multisig that is 100% accurate in there. We'll just go ahead and select the maximum amount to transfer, and we'll begin transferring just like we did last time where we initialized the vesting contract on Arbitrum. Now we're going to transfer the stake to Arbitrum. And very similar process to last time. Set aside 20 minutes for each of these and just stick around. Make sure that you can be there should any issues arise. And should any issues arise, go ahead and check the link in the description below where there will be a form that can be filled out, and we can get in contact with developers who are building this tooling to support any issues that we might be having. Okay, there's the green check mark and the timer. So we've been here before on the previous initialization of the vesting contract on Arbitrum. Once again, stick around, have some coffee, have some tea, and we'll see it through. There we go. We have also transferred the stake. We've transferred our vesting contract. We're going down the list. Awesome. So of course, the last thing to do is go to our delegation transfer. And here we are back at the dashboard, and we're on the Ethereum Gurley dashboard. And it's best if we just take notice to the fact that if there's any of these notifications, there are actionable things to do. And it's best if you see any of these actionable items, just go ahead and take action on them. It's best if we make these transfers all the way to Arbitrum so we could all take advantage of the benefits of Arbitrum. And here we're going to do the final step on this vesting contract. We're going to transfer the delegation to Arbitrum Gurley. And we can see once again, we want to be accurate with our Arbitrum Gurley wallet address that we can keep the same in there or put in a new one, an EOA or a multisig. Let's initiate this delegation transfer. Similar process to before, where we'll initiate and have a 20-minute countdown timer. Okay, green check mark, and we're off to the races. Once again, 20 minutes, relax, watch this all the way through, and we'll be good to go. Okay, so as you can see, we've gone ahead and initialized our vesting contract. We've gone ahead and transferred our stake, and we've gone ahead and transferred our delegation to Arbitrum Gurley. Thank you so much for going through this walkthrough with me today. And as we can see, there's a 150K that is on Arbitrum Gurley. And we can see the delegation. We have the 49.75 that is right now in Arbitrum Gurley as well. So if there's any questions, concerns, go ahead and check the link in the description of this video below where a form can be filled out should there be any issues, and they can be resolved quickly. So thank you so much for joining me. Enjoy the rest of your day. Take care.